my vice. Man up from Mars, he tripping, I put that on guard. I got the digits, but I am not calling. Wizard at night, this be that forum. I'm just gonna stack with that. Sunshine after that. Just gonna stack with that. Sunshine after that. So yeah, you know, I had a conversation with her, but it's like the signals is always crossed. I mean, like, I say yes, cause she asked me to say yes. And then she's like, I didn't want you to say yes. I wanted you to understood that a yes was required to answer the question. I was like, what?
Hi, everybody. I'm over here jamming by myself. Welcome to the spot, the Stacked After Hours spot. I am your host, Natalie Cosby, and welcome to the show for grown folks talk. Tonight, we're doing something a little different. We're doing a little remix. We're doing like a Hi Monique, high hold, no holds back TV. How y'all doing? We're doing a Club Shay, a Club SAH. Not a Club Shay Shay, a Club SAH. See, a Club SAH. And so we're going to talk to my favorite two girls, Sunshine and Marie. We're bringing Maria into the mix. Let's bring them all in, honey. Bring them all in. How my boos? These are my
fairy dust, but I'll just do this and make it seem like my fairy dust is here.
Yes, we have lit in black and enlightening in white. See how it is? It's like angels and devils. Look, devils they made.
The black ain't gonna take that. We ain't no devil.
The black is empowering, power to the people. Yes, I love the fairy dust too. No holds barred back TV. So, ladies, this is our first Club SAH, and we decided we were going to do this. We're going to keep it to the point. Just talk about what we've learned, what cracks us up, because y'all are off the chain, especially in the WhatsApp chat and the Facebook group, and both of these two ladies manage both. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk just about also what we've learned and where we are in our own personal relationships. So y'all get to ask us some questions, right? So let's go jump right into it. Oh, and let's start, first of all, the week events. We're going to do a little bit of what's hot. So last week when we did the dating thing, everybody started breaking up. People started falling apart.
Girl.
Mm-hmm. What the hell? Like,
I'm like, what's happening in the world? Like, there was no hope for anyone that was trying to get into a relationship.
Look, long term, short term, no term, they were all calling it quits.
Girl.
Yes.
But you know what, though, Natalie?
What?
I don't know what's the reason for everyone's. And of course, people, speculate as to why they were breaking up. But if really and truly that whole Jenny May and Jeezy broke up because he said her family expectation or her family views was very different to his, I'm sorry. I'm holding him accountable.
You're holding just him accountable?
Yes.
That's very biased because that's not like you to hold a man accountable.
I'm sorry.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm sorry, but he is the one that filed for
strike us down right now. Wait.
I'm sorry. He's the one that filed for divorce. Yeah. So he's the one, and men hardly do that. And no, if he's the one that filed for divorce, he felt very strongly about whatever her family values were that he thought did not live up to his. Are you telling me that him dating her, he never knew her family values was like that until he got married? I'm sorry, I'm holding him accountable.
She has always been quite clear during her first marriage that she never wanted to have children. And that's why her first marriage broke up. because she didn't want to have children and her husband did. And she said, though, when she married him, she did want to have children. And people were questioning, well, you were so adamant, you were married for several years before you divorced the first one, and now you married this one saying you wanted to. She's like, oh, it's because it's him and I changed my mind, blah, 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 blah. And I remember hearing that and just thinking, somebody who for so long was so clear on not wanting children, then to change her mind, I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it.
The other thing is she was extremely clear that black is on the side and white was right.
Yeah.
So,
well, she got the black side and got a half black child. So that to me is totally irrelevant. And let me say this: I think we have the right to change. There's certain people we want to have kids with. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's certain Negroes. I was like, there is not going to be any seeds, even though I don't have any children. But I'm going to co-produce anything with you. I think ain't nothing wrong with that for her to change her mind.
Look, as somebody who had kids with maybe one or more, that maybe you might have rethought something, right? But I will say, though, if you go into it right, you have to look at, you get the best of what they got. But if you don't want kids, then don't have children. I think that's the worst thing to do. If you don't want them, don't say, okay, I'll give you one. Right? Because
she's giving herself one, not him.
Right. I thought she wanted.
But that's not the mindset is I'll give you one.
But is that what she told him?
No. I'm not saying that's what she said.
I think certain women, I think certain people, they choose, just like men, they choose to have children with who they want to have children with. Mm-hmm. And then they also choose the person they don't want to have children with. And they say that to that particular person. I think it's on a case-by-case basis.
And if you don't say that, you make sure you don't have any.
Now, what I found really interesting was the backlash that she got after the divorce. Not him, she. Mm-hmm. And again, we see that play out from time to time in the group chat. I don't know about the Facebook group page, but that WhatsApp chat, we saw a clear divide in the fact that the men seem to be supporting what Jeezy did and vilified Jenny May.
Yeah.
And automatically she got the blame. No matter what happened, she got the blame. And it just kind of the overall theme as we talk about, what have we been seeing overall, especially in terms of men and women's relationships and interactions. We've all seen the fact that men and women, we're fighting. It's a battle. And I think I'm still trying to figure out how to bridge that gap.
Is it a battle though? Is it really?
It's or we're speaking two very different languages. Maybe we're saying the same thing, but how we're comprehending it just seems to be like two different languages. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
I think that
thanks to Africans for Africans.
I think it's not just the two different languages. I think we don't really listen to each other, right? And when we say we want to listen and then we think we're listening and we say something perhaps in response to what we think we hear, and if it's not what was meant or what they thought they delivered, then we get attacked, right? And I think that happens on both sides. I think when men talk to us, we hear some things and we don't hear some things. And then when we respond, if we don't hear what they delivered, then all of a sudden it's no holds barred and you don't listen and you don't do this and you don't do that and you don't do this. But then I also think with women, when we talk, sometimes they don't listen. And then we do some of the same things. That's not what I said. See, you're not listening to what I said. And then the yapping starts on both sides. They're quick to say we do the yapping, but they yap just as much as we can roll back any one of these thousands of shows that we've had, right? Well, not thousands, but hundreds. And you will see that we both yap.
just to be fair, there's no men on panel tonight, so they can't defend themselves.
No, well, I said both. I said both of us do it.
But
I think it's just different. I think it comes when we kind of push certain things for men to speak about themselves. Oh. That's when it really comes into. I like I said, when we had a question this week about, what was it? It was based on basically how has your relationship with your parents reflect in your current relationships today? And it took the men a minute to answer. They didn't want to answer. They kept, some of them was trying to deflect, but eventually I think the thing is, it's just they have to feel safe. They have to feel safe to listen, to open up to to me, it feels like the gods got to be all in the same line for things to kind of just really open up on both ends. But I really do believe, like, for them to, like, from what I've seen, the willingness to share is sometimes difficult for them to really open up.
I think that's with a lot of people, though, right? People are uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, and we run from it. And I think perhaps men more so than
I tend to. I don't know if I'm thinking like a dude, but I tend to do that.
I think when you haven't rectified things in yourself, you can't deal with the uncomfortable. You deflect.
Nobody wants. I'll own it. There are things that I'm have been very uncomfortable with. The things that I'm working on, and I found some of there are things that I've learned since you started this, right? There are things that I've learned about myself that I had to come to deal with and reckon with, right? And one of the things that I had to process was that I'm not as open and as welcoming as I thought I was. And I'm like, okay, so is that really the message that, or the image, or not even image, because it's not an image, it's just, is that who I am and who I want to present? And a couple of times on this show, some of the feedback that I've gotten, and it's more than once, so that really made it sit with me, was that I was like mean, and that I was quiet, and then somebody tried to correct, no, not mean, but not open, and but then they went back to mean. And I said, okay, I'm not a mean person. I don't want to present as a mean person, but my quietness and my closeness was being perceived as mean. And so I had to kind of go into myself and say, okay, is that really what you want to project? And if it's not, then why is that what's coming out? Right. And sometimes you can't always help how people receive you, but you have to own sometimes part of what you may be giving off, even if that's not your intention.
And then I think,
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, so so John Logic is we got jokes, right? But I also learned, and I was telling you guys earlier, I guess over this past year or maybe before, but I probably never really paid attention to it. I don't know if I want to call it like I'm the man whisperer or something, but there is a level of openness that happens when I am in the presence or I interact with a man. Now, nothing doesn't have to be sexual all the time, but for some reason, I have some sort of, I don't know if it's the purple aura, the Prince purple aura, that makes men especially feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable with me. I've heard stories from varying different races, ages, status type or whatever, that I've interacted with, and they just felt a level of comfort that for some reason I've been giving them to open up and just be themselves. And so I'll take that as a positive. And I'm not necessarily the
I
man.
think that also that makes you more man leaning. You're way harder on the women on the panel, Anthea, than
Yes.
you are very pro man. Like the girls don't. You do. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you are.
I've actually admitted that. Yes.
You are very pro
Yes.
man. Even their bad behavior,
Yes.
you encourage. I'm just saying. I'm like, damn, girl.
Because I think society has been really hard on men and boys from ever since. Young boys, young kids. Okay, follow me here. Don't give me the
Girl,
side eye, Natalie. I've seen it
come
happen.
on, Alice. Come on, Annie. Take us to Wonderland. The
No,
man's
no,
Wonderland.
no, no. It's not Wonderland. I've
Mhm.
seen society be
Look at
hard on
Maria's face.
and boys forever. And when I see bad behavior in young boys, I always attribute that to either somebody's phone is ringing.
That was me. I came through
Oh,
I turned off my cell phone, but it came through the computer. I just took
okay,
that.
that's all right. I mean, I always attribute when a boy is being or displaying bad behavior that they are somehow marginalized in either school or being bullied, whatever. Um, I hardly see a lot of bad behavior in young kids, young girl kids. So I always just look at that as somebody needing a little love, just a little hug.
We're talking
Sometimes,
about grown ass men here.
but I see some
You
grown
see
men.
the little boy in them,
I see the little
but
boy
I
in
see the
them.
little girl in us
And
too.
so historically, both have
Right.
been treated
But
that
I
way,
don't
right?
see that
Yeah.
much bad behavior in girls as
Ooh,
boys.
girl. Really?
Anthea. You know when I say
Really?
Anthea, girl, stop.
I think
Listen,
one of the things that
I've always, from ever since I was a young girl, just always wanted to,
That's
you know,
why the men be calling you. All of this that you giving right here, right now. That's
uh-huh.
why they just like, Anthea, I want to come lay on your couch. I want to come lay on your bosom, sunshine.
no,
Please,
And
please,
cuff and
please.
cuddle.
Come, can I come?
listen, there was,
Can you pacify me?
I'm
Please.
not breastfeeding nobody. All I'm saying is, so there was one situation where one person, I guess, came out of the group. I'm not calling names. And for some reason, what I saw was a little boy child looking into a window where everyone is playing and he can't get to play. And I just felt like a sense of nurturing to make sure that that person
But
came
see,
back in the group and played with the kids.
so let me say this. I believe in
Maria's
nurturing.
looking at me like, Anthea, shut up.
Thank you, Maria. Anthea. So my thing is, it's like I do believe, like I think we all need to be nurtured. I think we all need a hug. But I think in this society, men get a lot, they get away with a lot of things as far as I'm talking about in relationship dynamics. We
Okay,
actually, as
relationship is
women,
different.
huh?
Relationship is different
No,
now.
it's not. It's
Wait,
not.
I'm
How is it
talking
different?
about in the general sense
So
of the,
so
of
you
the
have to talk.
world that we live in. Men get a heart. Like I see, you know how many
I'm saying
times
I agree with the
they
life
can't
of
even hug because they probably will get called up on sexual harassment charges.
I'm not talking about that. Let's keep it in
We're talking
relationship.
about black and black, right?
Let's
We're
talk
talking
about
about
black
among
love. I
black
ain't gonna
people.
talk about men, and I'm talking
Well,
about
yes, y'all
brothers
stopping
and
me. I feel attacked.
Well, one of the things in terms of black dynamics and black relationships, because you said forever, historically, right? Black women, we love our sons and raise our daughters, right? We treat them too so differently. And that has impacted the way people interact with each other, black men and black women, when we grow up. And that's different than how society necessarily treats Black people, Black men, and Black women.
Right.
Natalie's like, I ain't falling for that bullshit.
No. So let me say this. I adore Black men. First of all, I adore them. But in the same token, I see, and I'm not saying women don't have the BS. We do. But I see how we pander and give brothers a pass because it has become acceptable in society because of the numbers or because of this or because of that. And I'm just like, no, like mm-mm.
Okay, so Michael is not chat group husband. Don't say that. So somebody said men get away with things because women lower the expectation. You accept the foolish. You
Exactly.
accept
I
the
agree.
foolish shit. So when we're talking about relationships, I think I'm talking about something totally different. And I'm not sure I could address that in terms of, what I was saying before in terms of relationship. I'm just talking about the way of the world and men in the world and why I favor the male. I feel a sense of nurturing when it comes to the man. Now, in terms of a relationship, I think everybody needs to be assertive in terms of what it is that they want.
So let's dive into us a little bit. This is a good segue, Sunshine and Maria. We're going to bring it back love. So we're talking about what we want. And they don't really know our stories. So when we talk about what do you want, and you're saying, verbalizing that, what do you want now, Anthea, at this beautiful age of 50 something?
In terms of a relationship, of course, I would like to have someone that's equally yoked with me. I want to be able to have great conversation. I want to be able to be stimulated in terms of what we're talking about. I think at this age, I need to have someone who is self-sustaining, can take care of themselves. I'm not looking to fund anybody's dream at this point. I definitely need kindness because I'm going to give kindness on my part. I definitely need kindness. And one of the things that men always talk about is peace. When I come home from work, I want peace. And when he comes home from work, he's going to get peace. And I just feel like I am at that level right now where the bullshit just needs to be out the door. And I just also, lastly, need somebody to accept me for who I am and make me feel comfortable being myself.
Got it.
And myself.
Before I go to Maria, you said something about you want peace. What does peace look like for you in your relationships?
No bickering and arguing about bullshit. I think any sort of disagreements can also be resolved respectfully. Nobody needs to be arguing and fighting for no reason. And I am very role based. I enjoy my role as a woman, and so I feel like I do best when I can relinquish everything else and just be in my role in that relationship.
So are you so not, I don't want to label it, but you're talking about you can step back and let him. What does that mean? You said your role. Because roles are for different women. So what is that?
Absolutely. So whatever it is that I'm best at, I want to be the one doing that, as long as we agree that that's going to be my role. The other thing is, I don't mind submission, but I'm not going to submit to somebody that doesn't make me feel safe enough to submit to them.
Like Jill Scott said, you can tell me what to do, and you can
tell me what to do.
But if you can't tell me what to do,
you can't tell me what to do.
What to do.
Yes.
Riri, for you, you're in a relationship, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what have you we've been going for 3 years. Like what have you learned about yourself and what have you yes, somebody did say Jill Scott, Logic, Montana. Yes. What have you learned and what do you have your needs or wants changed since you've been on the show and all the things that have been going on?
So what have I learned about me in my relationship?
Mhm,
And okay.
mhm, mhm,
Um, so one of the things that, well, let me start with the wants and the needs. One of the things that I have realized by watching the show, by participating in the show, by working behind the scenes with you guys as we flesh out ideas, right? Because even those conversations have been extremely helpful. And a
mhm.
lot of people don't get to see or hear those. But for me, those have been some of the biggest learning periods, right? As we're fleshing stuff out and giving each other feedback on things that we're talking about. And one of the things I learned is the difference between real wants and real needs, and what some things may be superficial wants and what you think are superficial needs, in terms of, is that something you really really want, or is that something you think you're supposed to want, and is that something that you really really need, or something that you think you're supposed to need, because those are not always the same things. So I've learned to differentiate between the two.
So
um,
what is a superficial want or need that you have discovered about yourself? Because I like that.
so I'll say, for me, a superficial want would be somebody who presents a certain way, um, somebody who, and I say that because I've gotten some of the things that I think I need and the things I want in somebody who doesn't always present the way I may have thought they would have, right?
Mhm.
um and there may be certain things that I thought like were really important to me, like being able to go to certain things and do certain things, that have turned out not to be as important anymore, right? Not saying you don't want them to come, or don't want to do certain things, and there is an expectation that, okay, you can come sometimes and do do some things sometimes, but it's not as primary for me. um
Got
and
it.
and understanding and expanding my definition of safety, right? Because everybody says they want to feel
You don't
safe.
want to go someplace with somebody that you have to explain is
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think I'm beyond explaining
Mhm.
people at this point. I don't explain myself too much in the way I show up, so why should I have to explain somebody who came with me, right? um but in terms of expanding my definition of what it means for me to be safe, right? Because there's different kinds of safety. There's emotional safety, there's physical safety, there's financial safety, and kind of exploring what that means for me, um, and how that shows up for me, because it may not show up the same for everybody. And there are little things, and then there are big things, right? I'm not trying to take care of anybody, and I don't expect anybody to take care of me, but I do expect somebody to support me if I need it, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, and whether it's financial. But I expect to be able to do the same for that person, right? I want to be able to support you emotionally, but I want you to be able to let me in to do that, right? Because that's the thing. A lot of times men don't want to let you in to be there. And I need him to be able to let me in to help in ways that I can. And that those are some of the things that are really important to me, that maybe were before, but maybe I didn't know how to vocalize it, or maybe I didn't recognize it in the same way. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
Yep. It does. It does. It does.
And of course, there's the physical safety, because I definitely don't want to be out with somebody where I gotta fight. And you ain't.
Did we have a show sometime where some girl said she had to come out and the guy was hiding in the closet and she had to come out and look to see? Was that you, Maria?
No, that was not me. I've never been with a guy hiding in the closet.
Is that the R. Kelly video? You remember the Secret in the Closet song or something like that?
She had to go out and check to see what the noise was downstairs, and he was in the closet hiding. I was hollering.
That's
No,
hilarious.
that wasn't me. But I will say, I've dated people who were the first ones out there in that fight, and I don't want that either, right? At one time, everybody was like, thought that was kind of cute. I don't want that. I don't want you to have the loudest mouth in the group and be the big ass mouth, right? That's not what I want. But I want to know that if we're out and something pops off, I don't have to be scared. I know that you got me. You're going to get me and you to safety. That's what I want to know, right? Not that you're going to be out. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the comments. They're hysterical.
The comments are hilarious. We should read some of them.
I am. That's what keeps distracting me.
Jill Scott ain't got no man. Why you listening to her? That's the problem. Tennessee, she right though about that one. That's who we are. We listen when we respect.
Whether she have a man or not, I think sometimes we negate what the good things that people are saying based on how we judge them.
Yeah. Oh, right? Yes.
Yeah, and we're judging her because she ain't got no man. How she wants?
The funny thing is, it's like when we think about people who didn't have no man, men were taking it or not in a relationship. Men were like dripping to every word certain people say. He's gone now, so we ain't going to bring up his name, KS. We just going to keep them initials going because he was not in anybody's relationship, and men would call him the Godfather.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I'm sure, Tennessee, you were one of them listening to that person.
You know, one of the things, though, that I've really learned from this show is how judgy people are.
Yes.
And you know, the men try to say that they don't judge, that women are more judgy. Yeah, they're just, you guys are just as judgy as women. I'm not saying more and that women aren't. I'm saying y'all are just as judgy, and it's come out.
I'm surprised some guys like, I need to join this cast so that I can speak.
I know, right? I'm sure there's gonna be some shit in the after party.
You know, when the judgment comes out, when you force a certain conversation with them, when you ask them to talk about themselves and they haven't reckoned what's going on in themselves, that's when the deflection, it's women, it's that. And I was just like, I need for y'all to stop. Like,
or when you have a scenario, you're talking from your experience and it ticks a nerve or it rings true or it's something in their background that reflects them.
Triggered them.
Or, yeah, that's when they get judgy as well. Yeah. Women too, but I'm just saying, I didn't realize men were as judgy until this forum, especially at this age.
Yeah. So what else have y'all learned about the brothers?
I was going to ask you, Natalie, what have you learned, especially
there you go.
About myself? Girl, I have learned that I'm learning to just like surrender. And I realize how strong my personality is when I'm in relationships. And I was moving, I think I said this a little bit earlier, in a place of power and the power dynamics that I felt like I needed to have to be controlled and guarded. And it was more so guarded. So I have learned like understanding and really like living in my vulnerability. And it has been uncomfortable. It has been stressful, but in the same token, it's shown me a lot about myself, like the things that the conversations, the uncomfortable conversations, the constant, and I realize the conversations are continuous, like they never stop. And you could bring up something and it may be about something else, but it's probably associated to a behavior that you have just been doing over and over and over again. And you don't even realize you're doing it. And so I realized I actually learn more about myself being in a relationship when I'm really like present and open. Like, and I realized,
I don't know who's Africans for African. I'm gonna need him to stop calling Michael's name.
Leave your husband alone.
It's not, no, but I mean, just looking at the commentary and what Natalie's saying, it has nothing to do with anyone in the chat, you know.
Yes.
It's fine. But that's one thing. And then I realized, Anthony, you named my alter ego Rashida. And so when she comes out, I'm trying to tame her.
I've seen Rashida, girl. Woo!
I think we've all seen Rashida.
She comes out. But I think I'm learning I'm learning what patience and understanding is, and really just grace with myself, and having a partner who shows up and it really allows me to be myself, my messy self. Because I realize I'm messy in my own shit. Like I'm really my head is my brain is constantly moving, and I'm just like, what can I do next? And he's like, girl, sit down. But he says it in such a loving way. I don't even realize like it's calming. And so
So are you saying that you were maybe conditioned or accustomed to a more assertive way of listening to something?
I think it was I always had to have banter. It had to be banter, and then it had to be I'm right, and then it had to be well, if I'm not right, we ain't together.
So how are you managing that? How are you managing that?
What, the not being right?
Well, the banter, I'm right, and then the
banter. The funny thing is, it's just like he doesn't take it personal. The banter is not personal. It's more so, it's just kind of it's how my family speak to each other. And it's actually how I speak in love. But I realize like sometimes it's too much. It gets messy and it gets out of hand. And so I'm learning like, Natalie, calm your ass down and shut up and just be yourself. Like you can be yourself, but sometimes you got to pull it back. And I think that's the compromise that I'm understanding, what compromise is for the greater good of the relationship I'm in currently. So I think I'm learning more about myself than I really ever have.
So Natalie, did you ever feel like either before or even in this dynamic as you were growing with your current relationship that there was an attempt to handle you? And I'd say handle because, you know, people try to handle people. And
I don't, that's a great question. I don't know, because the funny thing is I came into the relationship when we first started talking, handling in it, saying what I wanted, saying what I needed. And so after that, he was like, okay, that's what you want. Okay. If I do that, okay. If I can't do that, okay. So it was so organic. And I'm not saying we haven't had roadblocks or moments where we were just like, but I do believe that I think, okay, like it has eased into itself. All the stories that I have about why did he do this and why didn't he do that, and is he such a, and I still do that, but I'm also like, Natalie, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop doing
sometimes
that.
when you outweigh the pro versus the con, you're like,
Right.
I wasn't
and I think somebody said this last week. It was Malcolm, and I think he said it in the after party. He may have even said it. Who I love what he said. I wasn't living in optimism around my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was just like, because I saw, this goes back to my childhood, I saw my parents not having an optimistic relationship. So I was just like, well, relationships just don't last. So let me go on and figure out my way out
before it ends, right?
Instead of affording and being like, how can I stay in?
Yeah.
Somebody compromise myself.
Yeah. Somebody said that to me once about why do you always assume the worst instead of assuming the best or assuming just something neutral? You just always go to worst case scenario.
Yeah. And I live in a world where I expect the ball to drop sometimes. Yeah. So I'm just like, let me enjoy it until the ball drops, because it's going to happen. And 9 times out of 10, the ball drops, you know, and you're like, all right.
But the one time it doesn't.
Huh?
The one time it doesn't.
Well,
I think the thing is, it's like, even when the ball drops, can't you just pick it up again and start throwing it again?
It depends on who the ball is dropping with. Maybe you just wanted it to drop in the first place.
Right. But I think the thing is, it's just like, I think it's also a decision we make in ourselves. Like, it's a choice. Like, I don't want the ball to drop. I want to be able to say what I want, so the ball does it. So, because or at least what I not even what I need. Like, what are the essential things I need to be in a relationship with someone that I'm attracted to, and we have chemistry, like the basic bare things, and then we can explore it. And if the ball drops, fine, but
then you
even if the ball drops, can I pick it up and start throwing it again? With you?
You also have to be on an equal playing field as well too, and each person have to want kind of the same things. I mean, if you're operating where one talks, one doesn't talk, one wants a relationship, one just wants friendship, you're definitely out of balance. And then how do you bridge that gap to get to, okay, well, let's compromise, this, whatever it is that you both of you guys agree to. That's the hard part of it. And that's the part of it that I'm like a little bit lazy about, because I'm like, well, if it just happens, I'm not gonna fight, right? And that has been, in my past, my sort of behavior. Like, whatever happens, happens. And I think now I'm kind of catching up to understanding how I operate, and understanding that, hey, my voice does matter too, and what it is I want, I need to say. What it is that's happening, I need to ask more questions. Or if I care, that's if I care. If I don't care, I'm just like leaving it alone.
Yeah. Sidebar, yes, SAH is going to Antigua. We'll throw that. We're going to make sure y'all sign up. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Look, little commercial break. Sign up for SAH. We're going to Antigua starting in 2024, the last week in April. Antigua Seller Week. This is Sunshine. It's a Sunshine to Sunset partnership. We are going to go in and have a ball. All the excursions are included. All-inclusive hotel, the St. James Club, all-inclusive resort. And go ahead and get your hotel deposit, hold your spot. And
it's going to be really, really fun. And the excursions that we chose, the private island, the Reggae in the Park concert, the private boat cruise, and Shirley Heights is 4 places that, we kind of handpick so that everybody can have like a great time. And so come on down. It's going to be sun.
That's okay. The deposit is depending on what room you choose. It'll be one night, I think it's like the deposit for it depends on what room you choose. There's 3.
The single was $274 for the single.
Thank you. $274.
And the double was less.
Yes. So if you're rooming with someone, and these prices are per person. So,
and if you have not done Antigua with us, you have not done Antigua.
You have not. So we were going to do this show for about 30 minutes. We're a little bit over already. I want to ask you ladies, because let me say this, these sisters, my chose folk, you say your kin folk, these are my chosen folk. They have really been the true integral part of getting this off the ground and putting in their time and sweat and tears and coming up with questions. So I want to just honor these beautiful ladies by my side, because they have been really, really, they have been my anchors. They really have. They're the other part of SAH that just, y'all see Anthea all the time, but Maria, she's our angel. She keeps us right. She really does. And she's dressed in white tonight. Look at her. Look at her.
The angel? I don't think so, but okay.
She ain't an angel, but she's our little. She is big sis Maria, and she keeps us in check. So I want to finally kind of bring some things. Yeah, salute Quiet. We call her Quiet Storm, y'all. So she'll be on more. But we have a couple of things coming up this season that we haven't even delved into. Besides going into Antigua, we're going to start doing some live shows, hopefully some shows with some audiences. So hopefully you guys can come out and check us out. My final questions to you guys is, what was your most memorable lit moment in SAH? It could be a show, it could be the chat, it could be the Facebook group.
The unicorn. Girl.
Last week?
Yes. The unicorn. I gotta say
that really quickly. You got 90 seconds, Anthea.
So somebody in the after party decided to say, which is true, and we agree
that I asked the question
that they were a unicorn, and some reason that word kind of went off on a tangent and came down to, oh, unicorns don't exist. That's terminology that shouldn't use, and it just went on and on. It went on. So what I would tell the audience for SAH is coming to the after party, because that's where it gets lit.
Come to the after party. Trigger. Monica. Yes, mine is our other sister. Yes, triggered. Riri, what was your most lit, memorable moment?
I guess there were a couple, but I want to say it's not necessarily a moment. It was more of a dynamic when there were certain people on the show or in the after party. I don't think he comes too much anymore.
Wow. Uncle Jeff!
Uncle Jeff!
Uncle Jeff! Yes. We miss you, Uncle Jeff.
We do. But so that for me, those were the most lit moments were Uncle Jeff, that and Whitney. Yeah. Anything that had to do with the two of them were the most lit.
Yes, yes. Somebody said Uncle Jeff, my guy. Jeff Brown, yes, he is. Yes. Yeah. Uncle Jeff kept us honored. Kept me on my
listen, as somebody said in the Facebook group chat, that it's the show has really expanded and grown, and I agree. I think a lot of us use it, especially me, as therapy. Sometimes in the middle of the day, you're stressed out at work, and you come into the chat and you see something that resonates with you, and you hear people's different perspectives. You see it in the Facebook group as well, to Maria, when you post the question of the days, which I would encourage people to come in, answer the question of the days, because those different perspectives kind of give you like a moment to kind of self-reflect and understand, hey, maybe I've been doing it wrong, or maybe this is a different way of, facing whatever issues that are coming up. So
let me say this: the Facebook group is like
church.
It's like no, it is. It's like Oprah's Secret Sunday.
Well, you talk about the group or the chat?
The group, the chat is like Jerry Springer. Okay, it's like, wait, what is going on? Like just random arbitrary shit be going. It's entertaining. It's very lit, lightning, and just it has so many levels. Whereas I feel like the Facebook group is very like, okay, I just want to come in and give my advice. Let's see what people are talking about and go on. So yep.
Interactive. That's what it is.
It's very interactive. It is. The Facebook group is structured. If you need structure, Facebook.
And that's why I'm in charge of the chat, and the angel is in charge of the Facebook group.
Girl, yes. Finally, ladies, what has been enlightening for you guys?
I think I shared that a little bit already. It's just the amount of judging right? And it's enlightening in a way that, because usually people say enlightening, they think it's like woohoo, light bulb, right? But it is a light bulb kind of for me, because I didn't realize that we each judged each other as much as we do. So that has been really eye-opening, right, for me. And I know there's no brothers on the panel, but the mansplaining.
Da, da, da. Meet us in the after party, guys. If you want to counter what we're saying, meet us in the after party.
The mansplaining has been very enlightening.
I have found that, and just the other day, we speak two different freaking languages. I don't care what people say, we really do. We may be saying the same thing, but it's totally sounds different from what they're saying to what I am saying. And I saw that in this last question of the day that talks about, is there double standards with signing a prenup? And boy, we went on for 2 days. And it just, I just came to the conclusion that we spoke two different languages, and that's okay. We just need to figure out how to bridge that gap.
I think the one enlightening thing that I've really learned is that when we share, we see so much of ourselves in each other. No matter what sex you are, you can find yourself in somebody's story, which really to me is how we build our community and how we start to understand who we are. And so I feel like every time somebody, even the craziest stories, I understand it may be coming from a place of pain or trauma or even empowerment, whatever it is. I'm learning to really see the layers to people. Like, it's not just, I'm trying to lessen the assumptions that I make about folks and just really understand, like, there's a lot more to this story than just the act out or the cussing out or whatever we see when people go left, like with that all man show with Clyde and Jamie. I was like, Lord, we about to go WWF up on him. But it
was really a sword fight that night.
It was, but it was something way deeper.
Yeah. But one of the things that showed me was, because I've seen the shows where it's been the men and women, and it was interesting to see that there were no women, and they still acted as if it was men and women.
And we're going to the after party. One last thing, because we always say, the show Stacked After Hours is about love and Black love and where we are at this age. So what have y'all learned about yourself as far as dating or in your relationships? Like, at 50, what have you discovered about yourself that you were just like, huh? And I know I asked this question earlier, but just kind of your reflections on what do you think men are misunderstanding about you at 50 or what you need?
I think because my demeanor may come across as very nonchalant and very blasé, that they may not take me as seriously as they should. And I tend to just, either ignore it. But when it comes to attracting people, I do attract, I don't know. I don't see like a specific theme of people that are attracting, coming on, or, I'm attracting. There's no theme that I see. Nobody look alike, nobody act alike. everybody's different. However, my demeanor is very consistently blasé, nonchalant. So I don't know how serious they're taking me when it comes to a relationship.
Okay. All right. Riri?
So I kind of lost track of what exactly you asked.
The question was, at 50, what do you feel like people are misunderstanding about, especially the opposite sex? I mean, I know you're in a relationship now, so you're not necessarily dating anyone. I mean, you're exclusive.
So, but but even getting to that point, or even a little bit in the beginning of this relationship, I think one of the things that's misunderstood is that I'm pretty okay with me. Right at this point in my life, right after all these years, I better be okay with me.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not looking at ways that I can still grow and still develop and still learn things about me and improve on who I am. But I think I'm a pretty good person, and I'm pretty okay with who I am overall, and I'm not trying to shrink, right? And I'm not trying to shrink. And there was a time where I shrunk, and while I don't necessarily lead with who I am and what I do and all that kind of stuff, and all the little things that some people lead with, I'm still okay with who I am, and I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to hide it. I may not fly a banner, but this is who I am, and this is how I show up, and and I'm going to show up that way, and I'm okay doing that.
All right, I like that. All right, ladies. Well, let's go.
I'm not, your logic, I'm not changing. I'm going to be who I am. That's all I do. Yeah.
Yep.
Ain't nobody adjusting. Nobody got time for that. They don't got time.
We're too old for that.
We are.
And I think we may be too old for that or not too old for it. That I don't even think that's the point. I think we are good people in good places. And so being good people in good places, just, why become something that may not be as good or as in such a good place? So,
yeah,
we're not sending no representatives.
Right.
Well, sometimes that representative need to come out when folks are just be like, you know what? You ain't getting that part of me. I'm going to conserve that for me. I don't see nothing wrong with the representative. Sometimes
I think that's still part of who we are, right? That's just one side. We're just letting them see that side. It's not that we're changing who we are. We just decide how much of we decide how much of us somebody gets to see.
Yeah, I think you got to reserve some shit for yourself. I don't see anything wrong with that. And if that is your representative, go be merry with that shit. All righty. We are going to the after party. We hope you guys join us and y'all can continue to talk to these two beautiful ladies. And you don't reserve the comedy. Yes, sunshine. So thank you, my lit and enlightening ladies. And we are going to take this to the after party. You guys join us. Again, we'll be back next week. Next month's theme, we're actually doing the theme, the 4 C's of relationships. The 4.
You better say what they are.
Cuffing, convenience, communication, and commitment. So in those orders. So y'all get your notebooks out. We're going to take y'all to class. Come on in, and we'll see y'all next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Good
night.
Good night.
Join Stacked After Hours, The Spot, where grown men and women gather to have candid, also honest discussions about the state of life, love, and more. The Spot is a hybrid of in-person and weekly virtual gatherings. Join our Facebook group and answer our daily questions. Subscribe to our YouTube for our weekly live talk shows, and join us on Zoom for our talk show after parties for lively conversations with other opinionated, grown, and sexy professionals.
Just search, like, follow, and subscribe to Stack After Hours on Facebook groups and YouTube. Also like and follow our brand pages at Be Stacked Wellness on Facebook and IG. So wherever you are, at home or abroad, pull out your laptop, tablet, or smartphone and join in the conversation with the members of Stacked After Hours. The Spot by Be Stacked Wellness. See you there.
As you know, and if you are new to the Stacked family, we always keep our conversations lit and enlightening.